What's going on, y'all? Che McFadden, Just Che LLC and Truckers Hustle, and today we're going to be talking about getting into hot shotting. All right, check it out, man. A lot of the requirements that you need to be a professional driver, in the sense of driving like a commercial motor vehicle, an 18-wheeler, with a gross combined vehicle weight rating of 80,000 pounds or higher. Okay, a lot of the requirements are going to be the same. All right. Only real difference is obviously the equipment that you're going to be using, the gross combined vehicle weight rating that you're actually going to use on your registration or your cab card, and pretty much using that vehicle or that equipment in an application suitable to meet your needs for what you're actually going to be doing. All right. So let's just talk about hot shotting itself. Hot shot hauling is basically taking a heavy duty pickup truck, albeit a Ram, Ford, GMC, Chevy, something like that, but on a higher end. So like your 3500 Ram, 3500 HD, or F350 Ford, right? And starting from there, going up to 3500, 4500, 5500 for Ram, and to the next level, which for Chevy, I believe it's a Silverado. And for Ford, you're talking F450, F550, F650, a 750. I'm not sure if they still make the 750 or not. But anyway, that's essentially what we're talking about, right? But mainly from that 3500 or F350 range up to about 5500 or F450 or F550 range, okay? So for the gross combined vehicle weight rating for these trucks, all right, on average, you're looking somewhere between about 35 to 40,000 pounds. For the Ram, I'm partial to Ram because I own one. I own a 3500, a 22 3500, and love it to death, man. I don't use it for hot shotting. I use it for my RV. That's it, okay? But basically, the Ram, I can tell you, is the weight rating for that is 39,100 pounds to be exact, right? So let's talk about going and purchasing one of these vehicles from the dealership. A lot of times what you got to understand is that when salespeople from or at these dealerships see somebody coming in to purchase one of these trucks, especially if it's a pretty one, like the Limited, for example, or like a Platinum, or like that high trim level truck, they're not assuming that you're going to be doing like heavy, like industrial work with it, okay? Because why spend the extra amount of money on a high trim vehicle just to beat it to crap and take it into places that you really don't want to take it in? All right, people buying these Platinum trucks, these Limited trucks, and spending over $100,000 for them are using them for the purposes of pulling their toys around, their RV, their boats, their other trailers, things like that. Unless you want to flex or stunt with something, of a high tier, you're not paying that much money for that kind of truck, okay? You're going to get a 3500 or a 45 or 5500, whatever, and it's going to be the base model, okay? Like for Ram, it's the Tradesman, okay? But you don't have all this fancy trim. You might not have that huge LCD display sitting in the center console, okay? When you're purchasing these trucks, this is what you need to be looking for. Is it the level that it needs to be at to pull what I need it to pull? Which means, does it have the axle to do it, okay? Is it a dually? Okay, dually versus a single axle. That makes a big difference when it comes down to it as well. All right, and the engine. Okay, are you using just a regular 6.7 Cummins or a V8 Duramax or Power Stroke? Are you using whatever the base level of that is, or are you using like a high output variant of that engine? Okay, now the secret to that is, they're diesel engines. That whole extra level of trim it's not making that much of a difference. All right, you've got high output, you've got the standard and all of that. The extra amount of money that you will pay for a high output, okay, you could easily take that money and spend it on, a tune for the truck to get a little bit more power out of it. But what you got to understand and be aware of is that if you're gonna do something like that, you run a risk of voiding whatever warranty might be there. All right, especially if you don't get it done at the dealership. All right, so with that, it's a preference thing. But what I say is, if the truck has a diesel, especially these new ones, if they come with diesels, they have the axle for it, you're good to haul up to the limit of whatever the manufacturer is stating is the limit for that vehicle. Okay. Now, the type of trailer that you're pulling, for length and things like that, you can go upwards of, I've seen them go upwards of about 50 to 53 feet. All right. But when it comes down to your licensing and registration, stuff like that, your license and your registration needs to reflect your ability to be able to pull something like that. So here's the gray area with that. You take Johnny, who's got an F350 or a 3500 or whatever, and he's pulling an RV. Okay. And that RV is like 50 feet long. All right. It's got 3 axles on it. He's got 2 axles on the truck, total 5 axles for the vehicle, right? He's pulling a recreational vehicle. He's not pulling this vehicle or pulling this trailer to make money doing it, especially if it's his own. Okay. He's not doing it commercially. That's where the commercial part comes in, folks. All right. If you are hired to do work with that vehicle on the interstate or intrastate, you're traveling out of state, things like that, then you start talking about needing to get commercially licensed to be able to do that. A lot of people aren't going to tell you that. All right. So when it comes to getting the license, then you're getting the license for the purposes of making the money to do the work. Okay. But you're also getting the license that says, hey, I'm qualified to pull freight of upwards of a certain weight limit. All right. You can push that envelope real easily. Okay. So that's basically what it comes down to when you're talking about getting a license or a Class A for HotShot. All right. So just to reiterate, go back over that. I know a lot of people might hit the comments up for this, but when you are pulling a HotShot, okay, and you're doing it, you're getting paid to put whatever freight on that trailer or that truck, and you're moving it over the highway, you need to have a commercial you need to have a commercial driver's license to do that. All right, to be legal. The ramifications that you run into if you don't have that, you'll get pulled over by DOT and you will get shut down and probably put in jail. All right, you'll probably get locked up for it. Okay, you got to search for this stuff online, and there's a lot of gray areas, a lot of, not too many people have the experience that they should have or know as much as they should when it comes down to that. There's a lot of people operating out there illegally, but there's a lot of big truck drivers out there operating illegally too. All right, but when it comes down to it, you want to cover yourself with that, and the best way to do that is to get your commercial driver's license, man, when it comes to that. All right. The purposes of it being an easier side of the industry to get into, it's a smaller vehicle, it's a little bit more manageable, okay? And you're making the same amount of money as these 18-wheelers are pulling. You're making the same money, man. You really are. Like, no kidding. You go to a spot, if y'all are putting the same type of freight on your trailer, yours just weighs a little bit less. The same amount of freight that goes on your trailer that goes on that big truck's trailer, they're getting the same amount. They're getting the same rate per mile for that. They don't base the freight prices off of the vehicle that's pulling it. They base it off of the freight and the economy at the time, okay, or whatever the commodity is. That's what they're basing that rate off of, okay? Now, when you start getting into maintenance, right? So maintenance for a HotShot, you're doing the same stuff a big truck's doing. All right, a preventative maintenance inspection, things like that, or a post-trip, pre-trip inspection. You're doing the same exact thing. There are fittings that need to be greased. There are things that need to be adjusted over time. There are things that wear out over time. But the biggest difference is where a big truck is probably doing their preventative maintenance schedule at about average 20 to 25,000 miles, which in some people's books, that's pushing it. 20 to 25,000 for their preventative maintenance schedule and their oil changes and things like that. It's not going to be the same with that HotShot. With that Ram, GMC, Chevy, Ford, you're probably going to have that thing in the shop somewhere in the ballpark of about 7,500 to 10,000 miles every single time. If you're smart with a pickup truck like that, you get that thing in the shop a little bit sooner than that. So I would say instead of 7,500 to 10,000 miles, you're getting that truck in the shop maintenance somewhere between about 5,000 and 8,000 miles. That should be your threshold if you want longevity out of it. Okay. So breaking it down to like overhaul, things like that, where a lot of big trucks now are pushing that 700,000 to 800,000 range before they really need a serious rebuild on their engine. It's a lot closer with that HotShot. Okay. So instead of, that 800,000, you're looking at probably 300,000 to 400,000 miles before you have to start considering an overhaul or some serious internal work on that engine. So it's very important to keep those things in mind. Everything with the big truck, you're gonna half it when it comes down to doing HotShot. All right. Yeah, tires, they might be a little bit more affordable. You're not putting 10 tires around on the truck. You're putting a total of 6 around on it, which is going to be significantly cheaper. Okay. Instead of paying 7 or 6 to 7,000, you're probably going to pay, I don't know, maybe a few thousand putting them all around on a truck. Like I said, though, if you get into a situation where you find yourself needing to replace every single tire at the same time on that truck, you really messed up somewhere. All right. You really messed up somewhere along the line. So that's going to, your preventative maintenance schedule is going to play into that a lot. All right. So maintenance, HotShot is going to be cut in half. All right. Freight, you're limited to the capacity of that truck. All right. When it comes to that weight rating and your cab card, your weight rating from the manufacturer and what your cab card says might not be the same exact thing. Okay. They might not be the same exact thing. Where the manufacturer for that vehicle might say, hey, this truck is, let's just call it 40,000 pounds. This truck is rated and limited at about 40,000 pounds. Your cab card might say 38,000, maybe 39,000. It might say 40,000. Okay. But just know that it's not going, your standard registration is not going to, 9 times out of 10, isn't going to put you right there at that limit or even past it. It's not going to do that. All right. It will, but you're going to pay extra for it. Okay. Standard cab card is probably going to keep you right at that limit and not push you past it. Okay. And to go past it for the year, I mean, you could either get a permit for it or you could ask for a specific type of registration. You'll pay a little bit more money and it's not significantly more. Okay. It might be like maybe $100, $200, if that, extra on top of your original price for your cab card. Okay. Requirements. Like I said, everything that the big truck driver, that 18-wheeler is doing to be legal on the road, you have to do. You got to get a motor carrier number. You got to get IFTA. You got to get an IRP or an international registration plan. You got to get a 2290. You've got to, all these things you still have to do. It's just going to be a little bit cheaper, which is honestly is pretty awesome, man. You think about it. Okay. It's really cool when you get to thinking about it. But a lot of people want to get into the big trucking because, they can actually capitalize a little bit more at the end of the day. And it opens up more doors. Okay. So 40,000 pounds of concrete on a big truck versus 40,000 pounds on a HotShot is not going to be the same. I'm going to tell you why. Big trucks can scale. They can put 40,000 pounds of just solid freight on that truck. Okay, because most trucks are weighing somewhere between about 34 to 37,000 pounds. So 40 puts them at about 74 to 77,000 pounds. Still gives them that 3,000 pounds of wiggle room to 80,000. Okay, I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers out there, but you get that wiggle room. Now, 40,000 pounds on an 18 wheeler is close to gross. That truck it might struggle a little bit to drive, you know what I'm saying? Like getting up hills and stuff like that, depending on if you have a tune or not. If you have a tune, you might not struggle. If you don't, you're probably going to struggle. All right. HotShot, the equivalent of 40,000 pounds to a big truck for a HotShot rated at 40,000 pounds, same thing. You're going to cut that number in half. All right. So you might not do maybe 20,000. You're talking maybe 20,000 pounds of freight going on to that HotShot and putting you right at that limit. Okay. So take my Ram, for example. I weigh just under about 10,000 pounds. And then you take a trailer that weighs somewhere between about 8 to 10,000 pounds. That's 20,000 pounds right there already. Okay. Now you got the 20,000 basic weight right there, okay? The truck and the trailer, and you're rated at 40,000. That freight is gonna be about 20,000 pounds, all right? So let me summarize it and make it make sense for you, okay? Big trucks, truck and trailer, 37,000 pounds. Gross weight rating, 80,000 pounds. That means that truck can scale 43,000 pounds. All right. HotShot pickup truck weighs just under 10,000 pounds. The trailer weighs close to the same. We'll say 8,000 pounds. Total weight empty, 18,000 pounds for the HotShot. And you're rated at 40,000. Okay. That means you can put 22,000 pounds of freight on that trailer. Okay. But that is your limit. All right. When I put freight on my trailer, I make sure that it's not going to be anything putting me over 38 to 39,000 pounds. I like to have my wiggle room, man. I like to be safe doing it. All right. You don't want to get caught up at DOT, because if they see you in the scale house and stuff like that, if they see you pushing that limit and you're close, they're going to pull you in off the highway. Those little metal plates and the highways coming up on scale houses, they pick your weight up as you drive across them. Okay. So I know a lot of people that don't really know about trucking. They see scale houses, they see weigh station coming up, but they see those plates and the highway. Those plates are picking up the weight of the truck. And those plates are giving DOT the information to decide whether they want to pull a truck into the scale house or not. All right. So that's basically it for as far as the requirements go. You know, you're getting in a HotShot. It can be pretty reputable. It can be pretty profitable, but just know that, you know, yes, you can haul the same type of freight. I've seen HotShots hauling 8 tractors, okay, farm equipment, class 8 tractors, Freightliners, Peterbilts, Internationals. I've seen a lot of stuff on HotShot trailers. They're very popular at ports and things like that, you know, container yards, shipping yards, things like that. It's pretty cool, man. If I could do it all over again, would I do HotShot? I just, no. Simply because I know what I'm looking for. I know what I want to do. Okay. I'm limited to about 20,000 pounds if I were to do HotShot. All right. And there's a lot of good paying freight out there that, you know, that weighs in a ballpark of about 30 to 35,000 pounds. That's not to say that you can't pick up freight that weighs 2 and 3 and 4,000 pounds that pay a significant amount of money. You can definitely find it if you're looking for it. But no, just me personally, HotShot isn't something that I would want to do. I like to shift my gears, man. I like shifting through my gears manually. That whole automatic thing doesn't sit well with me. I think I told y'all that story where the truck got caught in the middle of the intersection and almost didn't want to. Yeah, not digging that. But anyway, man, that is HotShot in a nutshell. If you have any questions or anything like that, drop them in the comment section. Don't forget, like and subscribe, please. If you're visiting this page for the first time, or if this is your first time seeing this video or any of my videos, please subscribe, man, and keep yourself up to date with the topics that are going to be coming out. I'm rolling them out as quick as I can. All right, I'm late in the day with this one because I had to fly earlier, but yeah, I appreciate y'all, man, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Thank you.
Get it, 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 hey, get it, get it, get it, hey, get it, get it, get it, get it, yeah, get it, get it, on my soul, ain't no letting up.